In this video, I want to talk about retracts and some problems that might happen, how to possibly fix it, and some ways to remove, well, a way to remove slop out of the retract itself. Now this retract here it came out of my MiG-29, my FreeWing MiG-29, and the way that the plane's designed is the retract comes out this way. It's mounted in the plane like this. So the retract comes down and forward. So it has nothing to brace it for loads going that way. So if you hit a good sized bump, like I fly off grass field, if you hit a good sized bump, sometimes this will break over like this, and all of a sudden now it's not, it looks like it's broke. It's not broke. It's just that it broke free of the actuator. All right, and it's just the real problem of why this one's doing it is the amount of slop that's in here. Like I said, I'm going to show you a way to remove that slop, and also how to fix this. If you have this problem here and you want to get it working again. Okay, so I've already removed all the screws out of this. We'll go ahead and split it open. Boy, it's held on there good. There we go. Okay, let's go to the other side because the wire's on that side. Alright, so when we open it up, you can see in here, here's the actuator part, right? Now you can see what the problem is. So this here, this gap right here should be on top of this. Right, should be located in there so that when the motor moves and this thing moves forwards and backwards, it causes this to turn at the same time. All right, so the easy fix for it is to take it apart like I just did. Take this, move it into position where it should be. See now how it's right there. This is now right there. Right, so if the gear tries to come down, this pushes onto this. See? But now you can also see the problem. See all that slop? That's just it is what it is, but it's just horrible. This gear is crap, but it is what it is. So that's the way to fix that problem. Okay, and now it's really easy to take out. As you can see, it's just those two circles here on the side engage in that. But you got to get it under. You got to get it under the rod. Okay, like I said, really easy to do. All right, now if I put it in there, now if I put this cover on just temporarily, line up the wire. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now the retract is back together, but you can still see the amount of slop in that. Okay, we'll address that here in a second. Right, but just to show you that this retract is working, go ahead and power up the receiver. See? When that, oh, it just bound. Let me get this arm out of the way. Yeah, I should have had that arm out of the way. I can't really, alright, I gotta separate it real quick. Okay, there we go. Arm's out of the way now. Okay, back together. So as you can see, remember, this actuator here, now as it moves, it's going to force those claws, to turn at the same time. Alright, so if you watch it, watch this. Watch this right here and this. There. See how it did it? Now there's a little slop in this still. Right? It's not as bad, but that doesn't really matter because that's the retracted. That's the gear up position. Okay. Now we go back to gear down. There we go. So it's fully retracted, and once again, look at that. Look at all that slop. That slop right there is what on the MiG-29 what helps this to break over and act like it's broken, right? Because all this slop is a shock. As soon as the front wheel comes down, say it just hits a small bump in the field, well, it's an extreme shock like this to this, and it ends up slipping off that. This plastic flexes here, and then that tooth slips off this and breaks over, and that's what causes the problem, right? It's just an extreme shock to this. Okay. Now there's an easy way, well, relatively easy way to fix that problem. Okay. If we open this back up again. Get this out of the way. There we go. Okay, we'll remove that out of the way. Okay, now if we take a quick look at this board, okay, what you're going to see is right here and right here. These are limit switches, okay? Now the way this works is this motor, when you ask it to put gear up, the motor's going to turn and this is going to move this way until the bottom of this right here touches this limit switch. And that's how the controller the controller on the board knows that, hey, the servo's at its full limit. Same thing when you ask for their gear to go down. This will start moving forward, and when the bottom of this touches that limit switch right there, you can just barely see it right there. When it touches, so you can see right now, if I hold that in position, you can kind of see that it touches it. So, the way that I found to make this problem easier, let me pull the board out, give you a better look at these limit switches. All right, see those? So when the thing comes over and it hits that little part right here, it pushes it down. It's ever so slightly. They move very easily, right? That's when it knows it's at it's one limit, and it's how it knows it's at the other limit. Now, what I did to remove the slop out of the gear in the MiG-29, and this will work for any gear that uses this style. So as long as you don't have a a gear controller that actually sends the signals to your gear, this will work, because this is the controller is built into the servo. So all it has is a normal three lead going out. You send it a signal. The controller here, it will move it based on what it does. Okay. So what I did was on these little tabs here, so it's the bottom of this going to touch this. What I did was on the smooth part here, this rounded part, I put contact cement or some kind of glue or epoxy. So you want it so that you bring this out. It's actually going to be this side to do it, right? You're going to do it on this side so it makes it flat. Okay? So instead of being rounded, instead of the bottom of that piece being rounded like this, right? You want it to look like this. Right? You want it to be flat. So that way it touches the limit switch sooner. And if it touches the limit switch sooner, it stops sooner. And when it stops sooner, put this back together. Come on, get back in there. There we go. Put this back in. Okay. Now, right there you can see how it's going to break over. Right? You put enough shock on that, it's just going to slip right over the side right here. Boom. Boom. You know, enough shock, it breaks over the side and then it's free again. So if you can get this piece here to hit that sooner, it'll stop sooner, and then you can have it locked in between these two, and then it makes it nice and solid. Okay. Now let me retract it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to artificially stop it to show you the concept. So it's okay. Now we're going to go gear down. Oh, it's jammed. It keeps hitting the limit switch because I got the casing off. Let's see if I can make it work. There we go. And boom. See, I just touched that limit switch and it made it stop. Now, when it's stopped like that, look, both of those are stuck in between there, and you have a lot less slop in there. So the end goal is you want this to stop when it's retracted, but not to overdrive. You want it to stop so it's just...
Gear up, gear down.
Let me do it again. Let's see if I can trip it right before.
Gear up.
Okay, let's gear up.
Gear
Okay,
down.
there we go. Okay, see if I tripped it again, but if I trip it like that, you can see once this is all together, there is a lot less slop in that. And now you have both of these engaged on this, so it can't break over. You know? Now, like I'm saying, this can work for any retract servo like this. It doesn't have an external brake controller. So here, I'll do it again.
Gear down.
All right.
Gear up.
We'll go gear down.
Gear down.
Okay, see there, I timed it a little bit better that time, but you can see it's almost fully retracted. So if you can get that to touch that limit switch sooner, it's going to stop. Let me put the cover on now. Okay, cover's on now. Now look at the slop in this. Barely any slop at all, right? Because you're engaged into, it's engaged into both of those right there are engaged on that, right? So like I said, easy way to get some slop out of your servos like this, and also how to fix it if it does break over when it was moving free, like I showed you how to. It's not really broke. It just slipped off this pin, right? So any questions you guys got, leave it in the comments. Until next time.